Hi, my name is Olivia. Welcome back to my channel. Um, s- Thank you for spending some time with me today. But something that I want to talk about today. Oh, forgot to say, hope everyone is having a fantastic, beautiful day. It's hot out here, but well, don't get me started. But something that I want to talk about today is I think that it is very important for you to have hard conversations. Hard conversations just allow people to be seen, to be loved, to be heard. And it's almost hard conversations are often avoided because they're uncomfortable or they're too emotional. They bring out emotions that you don't want them to bring out. They have a lot of conflict. But and yet, despite a lot of discomfort in having hard conversations, engaging in hard conversations, difficult discussions, real, truthful discussions, it is very essential if you want to resolve a lot of issues. It is very essential if you want to improve communication. It is very essential for if you want to improve your personal growth and even relationships that you have with other people. But something that I have realized is that people avoid a lot of hard conversations. And it's almost, well, it is really, it's like a human tendency that to avoid conflict. We're wired to protect relationships with people. We're wired to almost this people pleasing, to avoid discomfort. You tell people, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And if you don't do that, people get upset. They say, how dare you disagree with me? How dare you open my mind to a new perspective? How dare you make me change? How dare you make me not only change the way I'm thinking, how dare you make me become aware and me take responsibility and be held accountable? And it's like there's a fear of rejection, there's a fear of conflict, there's a fear of discomfort, there's a fear of emotional pain. So, my thing is if difficult conversations are full of conflict, are full of discomfort, are full of disagreements, difficult emotions, emotions that you may not want to discuss or you may not want to bring out, it honestly makes sense why we as humans avoid having hard, difficult conversations with people that need to be had because we want to maintain these strong, well, these so called strong relationships with people and keep the peace. And almost like I said, this people pleasing basically. But and yet, when you avoid hard conversations with people, it's not beneficial. Let's just say that because all it does is create a lot of avoidance. And avoidance, oh yeah, it feels a lot easier in the moment, but there is a consequence to you avoiding hard conversations. There is a lot of suppressed emotions that build up over time. There is a lot of resentment. There is a lot of passive aggressive emotions that people start to display. There is a lot of broken relationships because they are not mended by these hard conversations that people can get real into the truth and get really to the bottom of what's going on. And in reality, too, avoidance creates this like false sense of hope and this false sense of security. Because when problems are not resolved, they are just simply hidden. They are swept under the rug. And one day you're going to trip over all the stuff that you have swept under the rug. It's going to trip you up and you're going to fall. And I have noticed this too. When you avoid hard conversations about real things, real harmful behaviors, harmful patterns, harmful habits, just calling people out, those things go unchecked and they continue to prosper and continue to grow. Whether that I have seen a lot of I have seen a lot of emotional, mental abuse that people display towards others. The superiority complex people have, God complex, people want to be worshiped as if they God themselves. This manipulation, other toxic behaviors and patterns. And mind you, I'm saying toxic behaviors and patterns because when you start doing something over and over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes a habit and it becomes a pattern and it becomes just something that you don't even think twice about doing or think about twice about calling yourself out on. Just checking yourself overall and just stuff gets swept under the rug. And it's almost like I said, avoidance creates and provides this temporary relief from anxiety, this temporary relief from stress and uncomfortable feelings and emotions, things that you don't want to feel and just talk about. And It lures you, like I said, into this false sense of belief and this false sense of security. It's simply, like I said, it's just prolonging the inevitable, because the more you sweep stuff under the rug, the more, the bigger the pile is under the rug, and one day you gonna fall because of all the stuff under the rug, and you're gonna fall and you're gonna trip and you're gonna hurt yourself. But what I'm trying to say is the reality of it, a lot of hard conversations need to be had, a lot of hard truths need to be spoken. Avoidance just allows a lot of harmful actions and behaviors and habits to continue without accountability. Silence gives space for a lot of things, like I mentioned earlier. It gives space for a lot of mental abuse. It gives space for a lot of emotional abuse. It gives just space for psychological abuse. Basically, people wanting to turn your own brain against itself because it's fun and it's funny and it makes them feel better about themselves. Just abuse overall. Like I said, God complexes, like I said, racism, any kind of ism, scheming I've seen, slander I've seen, character attacks I have seen and experienced. What else? Manipulation, all kinds of things. And it's almost like when no one speaks up about these things, about these hard topics that no one wants to call out, it's almost like somewhere in people's minds that are doing all these things that I just mentioned, it's almost like in their twisted minds, they feel even justified. They feel even like they're untouchable. And so many things start running rampant because we are not talking about a lot of serious topics that need to be had. And I have realized that the reason why I love having hard topics, I mean, hard conversations, talking about real deep situations, conversations, experiences, I love talking about those things. Not only are they good for myself and my inner child, but they're also conversations that need to be heard. And I'm sure a lot of people are having them in private. And a lot of people may feel like they're the only ones going through a lot of stuff when they're not. And when I have these hard conversations, whether that's in public, whether that's in private, or I come on here and talk about stuff, I have come to realize that there is a lot of people that are going through the exact same thing. And it allows a lot of people to realize that they have an out and that they're not alone. And like I said, I do a lot of stuff from the perspective of myself, my inner child, and just letting it out and healing as well from these experiences and things that I have seen. But it also, like I said, I realized that a lot of people are going through the exact same thing that I went through. And even in the pain, there's a purpose. And even in the negative, there is a positive thing because you overcame the negativity or whatever's going on in your life. And people think that speaking out, it means that you're calling people out all the time. It means that even that, well, let me not go there. But speaking out, speaking up for yourself, having a voice about a lot of conversations that people don't want to have, it is a lot. It allows you to release a lot of things, a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. It allows you to heal. It allows you to be honest. It allows you to be truthful. Just all these things. And like I said, sharing your personal truths, sharing things that I have experienced and that I have went through, it allows you to process pain. It allows people to validate even their experiences. Maybe they went through something similar. Maybe they went through something in the same realm, but they feel seen, they feel heard. Um, like I said, it allows you to connect with other people who have gone through the exact same thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you start having a lot of hard conversations, well, at least me personally, and I have talked about a lot of hard things that have been swept under the rug, I have noticed that there is a lot of resistance from others. People react very negatively when you talk about hard subjects, when people are confronted, whether directly or indirectly. When you start touching sensitive topics, when you start touching buttons, and people will attempt to silence you, people will attempt to blacklist you, people will attempt to dismiss the conversation. People have tried to shut me down. I have seen it, I have experienced it, the whole 9 yards. But why this happens is because a lot of people are uncomfortable with the truth. A lot of people want to dismiss the truth. A lot of people don't want to recognize that they were maybe even a part of a lot of things that you're saying. A lot of people have this fear of being exposed. A lot of have a fear of being challenged. And I always think about this. I'm always like, well, I have these hard conversations, and they're important for myself and they're important for other people too. And I always say, whenever I come on here, if I was saying stuff out of ill intentions, I feel like I would have been humbled by now. I feel like He would have humbled me. God would have humbled me if I was lying, if I had bad intentions, if I was, um, what is it, defamation. Then I realized, I'm like, why would He humble me for being truthful and honest? Why would He humble me for being real? Why would He humble me for being authentic and talking about things that need to be talked about? Because then I'm like, you do realize that defamation is only, it's only defamation if it isn't true. And then I'm like, what am I worried for? I'm being real. I'm being honest. I'm being truthful. I'm giving a voice to a lot of other people, not only to myself, but other people going through the exact same thing. And there is just an importance for you to be aware and for you to be accountability. Just talking about hard topics, calling out bad behavior, calling out stuff allows awareness. Without accountability, there's a lot of people that continue to do these harmful things without consequences. And speaking the truth and calling stuff out and having these hard conversations, not letting stuff continue to go on, it disrupts this performance of innocence where people like to throw rocks and hide their hands. No, you start calling people out, you start calling out things that you see that are not right. Yeah, rightfully so, you need to call them those things out. And it's like, what was I gonna say? Um, just when you don't have hard conversations, when you do not have real conversations that open people's eyes to different perspectives, to different thoughts, to the things that are being swept under the rug, when people realize it's not all sunshine and rainbows and puppies and kitties and he all throughout life, that hard stuff, that bad stuff really happens. you know what was I going to say? People think that these things don't happen, or when it does happen, okay, well, let's sweep this under the rug. I don't feel comfortable handling this. This is too uncomfortable for me. This is too much for me. I'm not used to conflict. And like I said, it's almost a serious fear of a loss of relationships, maybe with people, or just a fear of discomfort and conflict. And what was I going to say? And even this too, when you sweep stuff under the rug and you don't have hard conversations, it's almost like this quote stuff is quote unquote not supposed to be happening. But let's be real, nobody is perfect in this world. People are going to make mistakes. There is a lot of toxic people out there. There are a lot of people that like to hurt people. As the saying says, hurt people hurt people. So you were hurt in your past, and you wind up hurting other people because you were hurt in your past. You want people to feel your pain. Misery loves company. Because you're happy, I want to bring you down to my level because I'm unhappy. There's just a lot of stuff that is going on, and like I said, we live in nobody's perfect in this world. And I feel like when we don't talk about certain things, it gives space for more things. Like, it gives space for the things that we don't want to talk about to continue, and it gives space for things to be swept under the rug and for stuff to happen. And it's almost like this get you think that people are getting away with it, thinking that, oh, there's no consequences, or thinking that there's, like I said, there's absolutely no consequences. But then I realize, even if people escape human accountability, you cannot escape God. You can try, you can fool people all you want to, but you can't escape him. And you know what? Time is forever telling. Stuff is always going to come out to the surface, to the forefront. It's just very important for you not to sweep stuff under the rug, to not avoid these hard conversations, because there is a benefit from having hard conversations. There is empathy, there is understanding, there is this new perspective, this new thinking that you see. Your mind is open mindedness. People, like I said, see different perspectives. You build stronger relationships with people. You build honest relationships with people. Strong foundations with people that are built on truth and honesty and being real with each other. It promotes a lot of growth and change. Promotes growth personally and with other people. And most importantly, like I just said, it promotes change. Change is just so important. Change, accountability, a difference. rerouting, not doing the same patterns over and over again, but you recognizing that you need to change and you need to take responsibility and take accountability. But what I want to also say is that pain exists in many areas. There is a lot of stuff going on in this world. There's people that are going through stuff. Everybody's, as they say, everybody's going through something. And when you talk about hard conversations and you are authentic, you are real, you are truthful about a lot of things that maybe people feel like they're going through these things alone. People feel like, oh, I'm the only one going through this. Um, they kind of isolate themselves in their pain because they, like I just said, they feel like they're the only ones going through it. And I have noticed when I have hard conversations and I get just real and honest, whether that is in private and whether that is in public, whether I come on YouTube and talk about things, every single person on this earth wants to feel seen. Every single person on this earth wants to feel heard. Everybody wants to feel valued. Everybody wants to feel loved. Everybody wants a safe space where someone listens to me, where someone has empathy for me, where someone understands me, where I don't feel like I am alone. And I feel like when we avoid hard conversations and we do not talk about real things that are going on in this world, and we sweep stuff under the rug, avoidance does nothing but prevent from those needs to be met. Avoiding hard conversations, sweeping things under the rug does not allow people to feel seen, does not allow people to feel heard, does not allow people to feel valued, does not allow people to feel loved. And it is a very there's just a consequence to not having hard conversations and talking about things. And there's a consequence to avoiding things. And when you avoid difficult conversations, avoiding difficult conversation never keeps the pain away. But when you have difficult conversations, when you have real conversations, real authentic conversations, even with the discomfort, even with the conflict, even with the emotions being brought out of you, having those conversations allows you to find the good even in a painful space. And I just have realized that a lot of avoidance offers this temporary comfort, this false sense of security, and this false sense of belief that everything is okay when it's really not. Avoidance does nothing but create long-term harm and pain that continues on forever, for not forever, but for a long period of time. And when something has been done for a long period of time, it just deepens the pain and the wound and the trauma. And hard conversations are not easy to have. They are very difficult, extremely difficult to have. But and yet they are extremely necessary at the exact same time. They are the to first step of awareness, first step of healing, first step of being honest, being truthful, accountability, just a meaningful connection, something that's real. And I just want to continue to be aware of this and continue to talk about things that I talk about in private and talk about them on YouTube in public, online, on social media. Because hard conversations are just so important because, like I said, they allow people to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel loved, to feel like they matter. This is a safe space to feel empathy, all these things. And the comments that I get from people that I have seen of people getting vulnerable and real and honest and truthful, that's that's one of my whole purposes of coming on YouTube is to I give myself that space to be honest and be truthful and have hard conversations and talk about real things because it allows someone else to be vulnerable, to be real, to be honest, to open up that part of them because another person did it and they give themselves this permission to display this or to just be real and be honest because of this hard conversation or because of the things that you are being honest about that many people may not that many that okay, I just got it. These hard conversations allow people to feel, like I said, seen And when you avoid these hard conversations, people feel like they may be the only ones going through it, and that no one else is. And I forgot what I was going to say; it left me. But nevertheless, hard conversations are important. Avoidance does nothing but offer this false sense of security, this false sense of belief, and this temporary comfort and less anxiety and less stress. Avoidance does nothing but offer long term harm and pain and wounds. And having hard conversations are very important because they allow you to have meaningful connections and relationships with people. Allow yourself to hold yourself accountable and be aware. Also allows other people to hold themselves accountable and be aware. But I think it's just very important to have hard conversations and to talk about things that open the door for someone else to be vulnerable and open the door for someone else to be aware and to be accountable of whatever they're doing as well. But that's just something that I wanted to talk about today, and hope everyone has, what is this? Hope everyone has a fantastic day today. And now, why is he coming over here? And I'll see you guys next time.